Now, try to imagine a place that's rich in oil but knows it will eventually run out, which has an ageing population and needs to find new ways to attract people and businesses to create a prosperous future. Does that sound familiar? Well, these are many of Scotland's economic challenges, but they're also the same problems they've been wrestling with in Texas. In a series of special reports for Scotland 2014, our economics correspondent Coletta Smith has been travelling the United States, and she went first to the Lone Star State, where ultra-low taxes have drawn in millions of people and caused an economic boom.
Everything's bigger in Texas, and there's one thing that's growing like mad at the moment: their population. You might think it's all work in those big Texan oil and gas rigs, but there's something else that's pulling people to Texas. They scrapped income tax. I'll say that again. People living here pay no state income tax at all. Not surprisingly, it's proving popular.
I am Miss P of Miss P's Electric Cock Fried Chicken here in Austin, Texas.
And Ms. P has plenty to smile about at the moment. She's selling so much chicken that she's just taken on her second food van, all because of the number of people moving here.
It's astounding. And there's more cranes. I mean, they just keep coming. And 90% of them are apartments. And the reason for that is the huge amount of people that are moving here each and every month.
It's the same story for Bird's Barbershop. Anyone who's hip in Austin gets their locks chopped here, and the customer base is growing. They've opened a new salon every year for the last 7 years, and they've got plans for more.
Given the fact that people still keep coming to Austin, we're going to continue to grow with them, so we're excited about the future, for sure.
About 110 people are moving here to Austin every single day, and this is a picture that's being mirrored right across Texas. It's because the Texan government have made some crucial decisions that make it much more attractive both to live and to work here.
Building a business is tough, but I hear building a business in California is next to impossible. This is Texas Governor Rick Perry, and I have a message for California businesses. Come check out Texas and see why our low taxes, sensible regulations, and fair legal system are just the thing to get your business moving to Texas.
And it seems to be working. More than half of the jobs created in the States over the last 7 years have been created in Texas by companies like HID Global. They make secure ID cards for countries across the world, and they've just moved their headquarters from California and opened this massive new factory on the outskirts of Austin. The thought of their workforce not having to pay income tax struck a chord.
Undoubtedly, it's a component, right? It allows our employees to live at a rate that's difficult in other states that assess a state income tax, right? So it's a component behind the labor rates being where they're at within Texas, and it was a factor, yeah.
So basically, because there's low income tax, that makes it cheaper in terms of wages for you.
Sure. Profit is at the end of the day one of the things that we focus on every day here. It allows us to invest in areas where if you're in a higher cost state you wouldn't be able to, right? So whether that translates into new jobs, new infrastructure, all of those are opportunities with the cost savings we're going to get in doing business in Texas.
Low taxes have allowed Texas to move away from its traditional image as an oil state. In 1981, a quarter of the state's taxes came from the oil and gas industry, and in 2012, that figure was just 7%. Some here say Scotland could do the same thing.
If Scotland wants to diversify, I would recommend going back to Scottish roots. Go back to the philosopher who really had a big deal in the founding of America, and that's John Locke. You have rule of law, you have a light regulatory burden, you have light taxes. That will then attract capital from all over the world.
But it's not all rosy in the Lone Star State. The trouble with lowering taxes is that the government has less money to spend on things like healthcare and education, and that has a real impact on people's lives. Here at the People's Community Clinic, around 200 patients are seen each day, of all ages, and they don't get any money directly from the Texan government, so most of their funding has to come from charitable giving.
Oh, está uno? Nobody loves taxes, but people want their roads paved, they want good schools. You can't attract good employees if you don't have an educated workforce. You want a healthy workforce. There's something wrong when fully 25% of our population in Texas is not even in the queue to get care. And so that's the challenge we have. How do we make sure that we are not leaving such a high percentage of our population just out in the cold, and that we are doing something to address their needs?
Although it's certainly tough for those with less money to spend on healthcare and education, low taxes are part of the Texan DNA, as much as barbecues, boots, and the Texan two-step. If an independent Scotland were to do something similar, it would have a big impact on the rest of the UK too. Here in Texas, they're drawing in so many people that neighbouring states are having to switch to the same economic beat.
It's booming. You can look downtown, you see all the overhead cranes, you know, and it doesn't seem like no end to it. Now, I seen it back in the 80s booming, and then the bottom kind of fell out, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen this time.
Concrete and steel just can't compare. The grain dust, Rest Mountain there.
That was Coletta Smith reporting.